Hello, dear art lovers. Nasser Abdullah. He's an Emirati curator based in the United Arab Emirates with a distinguished career in the arts. I did not know many details about the art scene in his country, so I'm very happy to have learned everything by now. Nasser has a broad knowledge. When I asked the question, he answered like a book. That was really great. So, learn about the development of art in this young country, in the United Arab Emirates, in this episode. A valuable conversation, in my opinion. Please don't miss to follow my podcast and give me 5 stars if you like it. That helps us a lot. Enjoy! How is the art scene ticking? Everything we always wanted to know about art. A podcast of Petra Lossen. Hello, Nasser Abdullah.
Hello, Petra Lawson.
I'm very, very happy that you join our conversation here, that you are part of my art podcast, How is the Art Scene Ticking? And I must say, it's the first time that I talk to somebody from the United Arab Emirates. So I'm very, very happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
That's great. So, to be honest, I don't know so much from the art world in your country. I'm very, very curious to hear about it. Nasser, you are an Emirati curator based in the United Arab Emirates with distinguished career in the arts. You served as the chairman of the board of the Emirates Fine Arts Society from 2014 to 2018, where you played a role in raising awareness and promotion to the development of the fine art in the United Arab Emirates. How did you get into art, Nasser?
Okay. Thank you very much again for having me here, and thank you for being interested in the art scene in UAE. Well, I started myself as an artist. It's like the childish hobby of starting drawing and painting, and then it grew and developed from there. And since 2006, let's say, I had my own question, like the deep question about art and what does it mean and how it's work and all those deep questions, philosophical questions, let's say, and decided to take a little break from producing art and go back to my books and start reading and start finding out more about my questions and try to find answers for them. And when I came back, there was a big change. I didn't come back as an artist. I went back more into the managerial part by being the chairman of Emirates Fine Arts Society, and also a little bit of working with publications and catalogs and stuff. And then curating also appeared, and I had few opportunities here and there to curate some shows. So that took me from an artist to a curator in the current position right now.
Yeah.
I don't produce art anymore. I work mostly with young artists and younger generations here in UAE. Try to help, try to mentor a little bit. And in most of the cases, I trust myself as a curator right now.
Yeah. Yeah, you hold an BA in Business Administration and
Yeah,
Marketing from the
yeah,
University of Dubai, and you earned it in 2014.
yeah,
And your academic journey extended into graphic design and film production. Which is
yeah.
funny because my daughter also holds a BA in film production.
Well, that's
And
great.
this is reflecting your diverse interests in both art and media, right?
Well, yeah, my full time job is actually in the field of media. So I also put some effort in educating myself in terms of management, in terms of graphic design, and even filmmaking. It all came together to shift my career into different directions and different fields of production. That in some point of my art career, I also produced some films and some installations that was it was very independent kind of production that I shot myself. I used the camera properly. I did the editing myself. Everything was done by myself because of that background, of that education system that I went through. Some of them are just few courses here and there, but many of them were like really extended kind of education programs that I really wanted to develop and experiment even with myself and my abilities. And using different methods and different elements to produce art, or even later on to enhance my career as a curator.
Yeah, great. I know the beginning of the art scene in your country is not that old. Could you tell us something about the start of the art scene in your country? I'm very curious to hear about it.
United Arab Emirates was formed in 1971, and the 2nd of December 1971. And at that time, it was a very early stage of forming and developing the country.
Mm.
So many of the Emirati people were studying abroad, or the country and the government decided to send them abroad to study and learn and come back with education and with higher education to help and to participate in developing and building the country.
May I ask, Nasser, just to get an idea how your country looked in that time, 1971? So there was not a big Abu Dhabi with the skyscraper at all, right?
No, at that time, it was a very early stage of forming everything that you can see in UAE right now. It was more focusing on developing the people in the first stage to be able to build the country. So education was a very early element that came up into the country.
Very good idea from
Of
the.
course. And what was surprising that many of the people who were abroad were studying art. So
Yeah,
art was a great element that came up in a very early stage of forming the country, that people started
that's nice to hear.
like hundreds of people were abroad, mostly in Egypt, in Kuwait, in Syria at that time, in UK, in Iraq, and many countries all over the world, that they were doing their degrees in art.
Yeah,
And they all came back into the country and started helping, either by being in participating in the educational system, or even in producing their and having their own career in art.
yeah,
So all of that came together in 1980 when the Emirates Fine Art Society was formed.
yeah.
I was born in 1984, but the society was formed in 1980. It
Hmm.
was one of the early societies that came into the country since the law of societies was formed. And it really gathered all the people coming from abroad, from all those countries that they were been in to continue their studies. And they came back and they were producing, they were doing their own exhibitions, they were arguing, having conversation, and dealing with
Mm.
different subjects and different topics that came up into the time that they were in the society. Just to highlight this, the society is a non-profit organization
Hmm.
that was licensed by the government, but it is very independent kind of organization that was managed and led by the artists themselves. And all the events and programs were also focused on art and producing art and making exhibitions all over the time since then.
Yeah,
So 1980 is a big change in the career of art in the country. But like even before that, the education was still going on, and people were also learning and getting their degrees.
Nessa, let me ask you, these young people who were interested in learning different knowledges, like not only art, how did they do it? Did the government pay them that they were able to study and to grow and to develop the country? Or how was it managed?
Okay, the first stage when we were talking about people going abroad to study, that was
Yeah,
definitely supported by the government, that were supporting all subjects, not just art, like medicine,
yeah,
engineering, education, all different fields at that time. People were studying everything because every professional is
yeah,
important at that stage of a
yeah,
country.
yeah.
So sending them over there was by the government. But coming back, every one of them had his own career, had his own path of developing his career and starting working. So you will see someone who was involved in the educational system. He was a
Hmm.
teacher in the school. Someone was just doing his art. Someone else was having another full-time job, but also involved in art field. Adding to that also that it was not just Emiratis people who were there. Since the beginning of the forming of the country, there were lots of people from abroad coming to the UAE to start their career, to live, to have their family in here. So you will find many people from different parts of the world participating and forming the art scene in UAE. Like Egyptians or people from Sudan or even people from Europe and different countries coming into the country and being part of the developing
Yeah.
the country and also developing the art scene here.
Yeah. Yeah. And Nasser, may I ask you about the women in the art?
It's fine. Since the beginning, also many ladies were sent abroad to study
Yeah.
again in different fields. Art was part of that also, and we have many people who, since the beginning, had their degrees in art, especially with someone like Dr. Najat Makki.
Yeah.
She was one of the early people who were traveling abroad and got her degree in art in Egypt. And she also went further to get her master's and PhD in art in Egypt. And she is one of the main artists here in the country right now.
Oh, nice to hear. Yeah.
And we also develop art scene in the country that you will notice that in many places around the world that the females are more into art than males. And
Hmm.
we also have two universities that established to support and educate females specifically,
Yeah.
and both of one in Abu Dhabi and one in Dubai called Zayed University, and they both had art colleges, and most of the graduates or art graduates in the country are females.
Yeah. Great.
So we have every year something around 50 to 100 students graduating in art field, and most of them are females.
Yeah.
That's the academic side of the graduates. But also, you know that not every artist will go through an academic process. Many of them can develop their art career just by practicing and developing and self-taught kind of artists also.
Yeah. And I only can guess that these people who are not graduated from the university, self-taught artists, do they face the same problems like the artists, for example, in Europe? Often they need to do two jobs because they need to earn money, and the art is not that established in their life that they earn enough money from the
Well,
art.
unfortunately, even if they graduated from art, they still need to do a full-time job.
Mm, yeah.
Like a job to pay the bills and everything, and another, and also enhance or develop their art career.
Yeah.
Art is still growing and developing. We have few people who are really into being a full-time artist, but most of the people here having that as a side interest and something around their life. So it is part of the hard life of the artist anyway. So being
Yeah.
an artist is not an easy job. You have to
Yeah.
put lots of effort, lots of energy into it. And
Yeah.
part of it also is like you might need a full time job on site to help you develop your career.
Yeah. Yeah. The people in your country, how do they look to the artist? Are they proud of the artist? I'm talking about the reputation in your country
Yeah,
regarding art. I
yeah,
mean, in Europe, for example, a doctor, a medicine doctor, has a much bigger reputation than an artist, depending on the success.
yeah. Okay. I believe it's really changing nowadays in UAE and even in the region in general, not just in my country, even the region around us and the other Arab countries and Gulf countries here next to UAE. It's also changing. Doctors are important, engineers are important
Yeah,
people.
they are.
All,
There's no
all,
doubt about it.
yeah, they are all important. But artists also, in some point, it was really difficult to figure out what is the outcome of being an artist. But nowadays, in my country and even in the region, if you noticed from the news, that there is a big boom of events, exhibitions, museums that are coming to the region. And that is really helping artists to get lots of opportunity to either develop their career or produce bigger pieces and even get more commission for their practice and for producing artwork. So in some point it was really rare to find enough opportunities for artists, and based on that people will look or will underestimate the artist and the effort they are putting in their career. But nowadays, with all what is going on, that this big boom into art, like for example here in UAE in March, for example, or even last November, we had a big amount of events that you will not be able to follow up or not to be able to see everything going on in the country. There was like the Abu Dhabi Art Fair, Abu Dhabi Binali, then Abu Dhabi Louvre had few exhibitions,
Yeah.
many other exhibitions in Dubai, many exhibitions in Sharjah. So definitely artists will get the opportunity to be in some of those events, to get a proper exposure for their career, and that will really get the attention of people that they will not mind to have one of their kids to be an artist anymore. In some point earlier, like until the 2000s, maybe the beginning of 2000, people will still have doubts about it, but not anymore, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, that's very interesting. Hassan Sharif
Yes.
and Mohammed Kazem,
Yeah.
I hope I say it in the right way, they have had a significant influence on the Emirates art scene. Could
Yes.
you please explain our listener who they were and what they did and how everything was with them?
Okay. Most of the people went abroad who came back with proper education of art, and they really were producing a good artwork, but they were more focused on paintings and sculpture in very traditional way of making them. But Hassan Sharif was a very unique artist who went to London, and he got back with diploma, not even a bachelor degree, but it was really focused on contemporary art. And that was a very big change in the shape or understanding of art, and in this region specifically. He came back in the 80s, early 80s, and for a region that was just formed, that most of the people were into paintings, into sculptures, and suddenly someone is coming back with installations, performance, and other things, and performance and other forms of art. I
Hmm.
think it was a very unique example for that, and it really affected many of people' career in the future,
Yeah,
because his career actually kind of break the ice of questioning what is art and what is acceptable and what is not, because the installation he came up with was really out of the sense of beauty. Let's say it was more conceptual, that people will start asking what is this and what is going on with his artwork, how we have to consider this as an art piece in an exhibition at that moment.
yeah,
So later on, when younger generations started to get education and started to practice more into contemporary style of artwork and installations and performance and different methods of making art, that was not a question anymore. Like, is it art or not? That career of Hassan Sharif really helped the younger generation to practice their art in their own way and freely without questioning anymore. So that was like the major part of his career and major effect onto generation. Not just that, Hassan Sharif also helped into really educating many people here in the country. So he was really helping with different generations of artists and their career, and started writing about them, starting working on many projects to help them to develop and grow, including publishing lots of articles in newspapers and talking about international artists, talking about the art movement in different parts of the world, and from Europe, from America, from other Arab countries also, just to help in education. You can imagine in the 80s and 90s, when the internet was not a thing yet, sharing knowledge and sharing education was so important at that point. And Hassan Sharif was, or let's start with the country actually in the beginning. We didn't have enough access to lots of books about art and what is going on around the world. So Hassan Sharif took this responsibility for translating lots of articles, many books, to help the people to read in Arabic in the first place, and later on also when the education system were growing and the language also developed, people started reading in English also. But at that time, translation was a very important thing.
yeah, yeah, I can believe, yeah.
He also helped in translating lots of articles that he published in At-Tashkil magazine later on. A publication came out from Emirates Fine Arts Society that was really one of the very few resources of art education or art writings in the region. Was most of it translated by Hassan Sharif and some of his colleagues at that time.
Yeah.
So that is his major influence. And he was also running the Youth Atelier. It's also like an organization that was supported by the Ministry of Education. It
Mm.
was not including in the schools. It was like after school classes for artists who were interested and he was managing that atelier and helping the artists and educating them and teaching them how to start their art career.
Yeah.
Later on, Muhammad Kadhim is the other artist that you mentioned. He took over that place. He was the person, he was one of the students of Hassan Sharif,
Mm-hmm.
and he took over that atelier when Hassan Sharif got retired. Muhammad Kadhim was there, and I was lucky to get the education from Muhammad Kadhim himself. He is
Oh,
my
yeah. Great.
he is my major teacher actually
Yeah.
of art, but also Hassan Sharif was around, and he was also helping by giving us some books, some writings, some articles to develop and help us to read more about art and to develop our thoughts and ideas and philosophy about art and growing our career at that time.
Yeah.
So they both had big influence on many artists in the country. And even after a long time, when Hassan Sharif passed away in 2016, and still people mentioning him and mentioning how much he really helped them in their art career and how much he influenced their career in art.
Yeah.
That's why they are so appreciated and so great people that people are really thanking them all the time.
Yeah. That's a nice story, I must say. Yeah. And it's wonderful to see that even such a young country can do such a great work with art. That's
Mhm.
really amazing. Okay, you have a lot of money, so you can do nearly everything you want.
Well, I will definitely refer this to having some great leaders in this country. Like
Yeah,
many countries are wealthy and having money, but like having money and spending it to develop and grow people and grow the art scene since the beginning, that doesn't come except from a very wise people who really led and formed this country and took it to this stage. So yeah, you if you come to the country, you might see big buildings covered with glass, look very modern, very
yeah,
practical. The economy system is doing very well, but you will also find lots of people who really grown and developed in their career in different fields, not just art, in many careers, many fields that people really developed and growed, and most of them are participating in the all achievements that the country is going through right now.
yeah, yes,
So
yeah,
leadership is always something important to manage and
yeah.
have
And not
good
every
stories.
leader is doing the same thing
It's
in the right
obvious,
way.
obviously. Like
Yeah, exactly.
we can notice the difference between many countries around the world. So you will definitely see some countries with less fortune and less,
Yeah,
let's say,
exactly.
resources, but they're still doing great. And you will see countries with many resources and wealthy, let's say, but not doing well. So it's really about the people and how they are managing this country, how leading those countries, and to notice all these differences between a place to another.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And art is so important for a country, for the people in the country. So it's very nice when I see a country is supporting this field.
Of course.
Nasser, during your time as chairman of the Emirates Fine Arts Society,
Yeah.
what were some of the key initiatives you introduced to promote fine art in your country?
Okay. Again, just to mention that we mentioned it earlier, the society is a non-profit organization
Exactly,
that is led by the artists themselves and doing lots of things for the artists also.
exactly.
And the way of becoming the chairman of that society happens by election. So I was elected twice, every time for 2 years. So I was there as a chairman from 2014 until 2018.
Hmm.
During that time, I was focusing more into developing projects and programs that will help artists or the members of the society to be able to produce and to display their artwork in different places and different exhibitions. But also, I noticed that there is an opportunity to develop some of the projects that were there for a really long time in the society already. Like there was the At-Tashkil magazine. At-Tashkil means fine art in Arabic. At-Tashkil magazine was there and it was established in 1984. again, I was born in 1984, so we had the same age,
Yeah.
but it didn't came out in a constant way. So I really wanted to keep that publication going on, and since
Yeah,
it's
it
one,
died much before your times.
yeah, that's
Right?
why I was like focusing and bringing it back in a
Yeah.
proper way and in a constant way. And
Yeah.
luckily, I got the support from Sharjah Art Foundation financially, actually, because it's also something that costly to have a proper publication about art and to run it constantly in a way. So thanks to Sharjah Art Foundation, they get me some the support. They help me to get out this magazine in a proper way. We just mentioned Hassan Sharif and how he was helping in developing the magazine and translating lots of articles for that place. But in the stage when I was in the society, we definitely in a different era of time. Internet is there. People have access to lots of education, to lots of knowledge, and access to all over the world, getting the books, the reading, the writing, the articles. So it was not anymore the only source of knowledge.
Mm.
That's why I focused on introducing artists and introducing different practices and different fields of art that is interesting in the region into the magazine. And it was coming out in Arabic and English so that it will have the opportunity for people to read about the Arab artists and the artists from the region in Arabic and in English if they look in Arabic. So that kind of mix was so interesting, and lots of the writers were like academics, researchers, curators, talking about their projects, about initiatives, about thoughts and philosophies. And I believe it came out in a very good way that people really still appreciate that effort at that time. And lots of those articles were used in classes and universities.
That's
Uh,
great.
And
Wow,
I
yeah,
was
that's
really happy
super.
about it.
Yes, I can
And
imagine. Super.
an interesting story happened that during one of the events, I met a doctor from Argentina
Mm.
called Elsie Petroni. It was an event in Sharjah Art Foundation, and later on, I also asked her to write in the magazine about art in South America, and
Yeah.
she wrote a couple of articles that we also published again in Arabic and in English. But the interesting thing that she really was so happy and proud of it that it might be the first time that something was published in Arabic about the art in South America, and we sent her a few copies that she really distributed among many countries in South America, telling them that we had articles about the art there in Arabic. So I
Mm.
was really, it was so nice moment for myself to see the magazine expanding and growing and reach to those locations and reach different geography because of the outcome that came through the effort I put in this magazine. The magazine is still going on and it's run by different people right now since I'm not in the society anymore as a member or a chairman.
Mm.
But it is a great publication that worth to look at and worth to see what is going on in this region also.
Very interesting. Nasser, you've worked on several curatorial projects
Yeah.
from the Abyss.
Yeah.
Abyss. I hope it's the right way of it. Stairs back
Yeah.
to collaborations from Barcelona to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Which exhibition stands out to you the most and why?
Well, the major exhibition that I did in my career was that one, from Barcelona to Abu Dhabi. It was a collaboration between MACBA, the Contemporary Art Museum in Barcelona,
Mm.
and ADMAF, Abu Dhabi Art and Music Foundation. So they got some of their collection to UAE, to Abu Dhabi,
Yeah.
and it was the first time for the collection to be in the Middle East. And it was a co-curated exhibition. So I curated, or Mr. Ferran curated the collection coming from Barcelona,
Yeah.
and I curated the Emirati artists that were kind of a conversation between the collection and the contemporary art movement here in the country in
Mm.
UAE. So it was an interesting collection with major names coming to the country or coming through the collection of Makba. Then you will see names like Joseph Beuys or Gerhard Richter or
Mhm.
Gecko or the major historical names through the contemporary art history. coming into that collection. And on the other side, you will see names like Hassan Sharif or Muhammad Kadhim or Hussein Sharif and Muhammad Ahmed Ibrahim, and artists like Layla Jum'a or Sheikh Al Mazrou or Ali Al Otah. So a combination between younger and established artists mixed together to have a conversation with the collection coming to the region for the first time ever.
Mm.
So that exhibition was one of the major exhibitions that I really enjoyed and have big experience curating at that time.
Yeah.
After that, I had few opportunities to curate some exhibitions in different foundations and galleries and do lots of solos. I really enjoyed doing that. I really enjoy working with younger artists or emerging artists and helping them to shift their career from being an emergent into more established artists and sustain their practice and their artwork by having conversation or mentoring them for a time and then putting them in an exhibitions. But yeah, from Barcelona to Abu Dhabi is the major exhibition that I curated through my career as a curator.
Yeah. As a curator, how do you approach creating exhibitions that both reflect local heritage and resonates with a global audience?
Well, curating again, since I didn't study art or didn't study curating as an academic form, it really happened to be a few opportunities here and there that I took, and it really helped me to develop my career as a curator. I know it's more complicated to be curator. It's not just to get the opportunity, but luckily with all the background on being an artist and being through a long journey running the Emirates Fine Art Society, it really gave me the confidence and the knowledge to curate and work with artists from this region and to develop the artwork. For myself, I believe the core business of art is the artist himself. So, in terms of curating exhibition and working with artists, I definitely will focus on the artist and the topics that they are working on originally. It's not my role to figure out the topic that the artists want to work or want to develop through their career. So I definitely just read about those topics, try to have proper conversations with the artists, and try to ask the difficult questions about them and take them away from the comfort zone that they might stuck in for a while. And then from long conversation, the artwork will come out and will be formed and shaped properly to show how much the artist put effort in their artwork. So in my career, I believe that helping artists, developing their career, and having long conversations is always the key point of curating any show or any exhibition that I'm working on. Of course, after that exhibition from Barcelona to Abu Dhabi, most of the exhibitions that I worked on are like more smaller in scale or even solos sometimes. That's why the focus is bigger on the artists themselves comparing to that big exhibition that had more than 50 artists together.
Hmm. Your mentorship of young artists is a cornerstone of your work. That is what I understand. What advice do you often give to emerging artists trying to find their voice in the contemporary art world?
Well, definitely each artist have his own career and have his own practice that, especially if they are young, will definitely need some help and support and having a proper conversation about it. So it's not like a one advice for every single artist, but it's always like trying to figure out in what stage they are in and then helping them to continue their practice. But of course, the major questions or major advice will be getting out from the comfort zone and
Yeah.
okay,
As
of course
always, it's for
it's
everyone.
always it's for everyone
Work
actually.
hard, work hard, work hard.
Well, actually my advice is always like produce.
Yeah, yeah.
I believe in that actually. Like artists sometimes they don't need to think and not to use
Mm.
their mind to think or their brain to think. They need to use their hands to think, produce. While producing, the artwork will develop. While producing, new ideas will come. While producing, errors will happen, and
Yes,
you will
that's
learn
right.
from them. And
Yeah,
then the
that's true.
work will grow and the work will develop through producing, not just by sitting down and thinking about
Yeah,
how to
that's right.
create a great
Yeah, yeah.
artwork and a great art
Looking
piece.
into the sky.
Yeah, yeah. And like you might need some time to look at that sky,
Yeah, yeah, that's
but
right.
but definitely you have to focus on producing at the first point. Like sometimes artists are really rushing into having a gallery or having the chance to participate in big exhibition, but you can't do that if you don't have a stable career, if you don't have a body of artwork that people might look at and consider
Yeah,
that
that's
this
right.
is a
Yeah.
good opportunity to have in my gallery or my exhibition. If not, if you don't produce, if you just have ideas,
Yeah.
don't wait anything from the galleries or from foundations or from anyone to help you and support you. You
Yeah.
have to start that by yourself, and then when you are ready, opportunities will come, galleries will come, exhibitions will come, commissions will come, but you have to have that body of artwork that is great, developed, proper, having solid ideas, solid thoughts, well prepared, well produced, well researched and read about it. When all of that happen, then you will be ready for the right opportunities and the right exhibitions in the future.
And I must add here, it's really hard to find a balance between all these not hard facts like developing your mind for art. I mean, it's not only there. It needs to change, it needs to work. And yeah, as you said, sometimes you need to sit here and look in the nice sky and feel, and then you need to work, and then you need to bring all the different parts together. It's not really not so easy.
Well, we are living in a time that it's moving so fast, that the topics are
Yeah.
changing so
Yeah.
fast. Just thinking about trends on social media, it makes us crazy. Like we don't follow up anymore with the trends that are happening at the time. And again, it's not just in art, it's in any career right now.
Yeah.
Definitely, no matter what you're doing, you have many roles. It's not just to do what you are doing and as a career. Like an engineer nowadays might be an influencer or might be someone who have an account on Instagram just talking about how to or creating content about engineering. He might be an advisor, he might be a consultant, he might be on board doing talks, he might be someone who's managing financial related to engineering. And art is not different. Art is not going anywhere else. It's again the same method and the same time that we are living in. Then you have to be in many hats through your art career. You have to manage your website. You have to manage your
Yeah.
social media account.
Yeah.
You might establish an podcast, for example, like
Yeah.
what you are doing right now,
Yeah.
and that all will help and will add up to your career as an artist and will show off everything you are doing in a good way. But if you miss those parts, if it's not harming you, at least you're not benefiting out of all those tools that are available nowadays. So
Yeah.
it's either take it or you're missing an opportunity.
That's right. Yeah.
So it is a hard time that we are living in, moving so fast. And to keep up with everything going on around you, you also have to have that part of your life focusing on developing the other tools that will help your career also.
Yes. Nasser, your contributions to preserving Emirati art history, such as your work on the book about Hassan Sharif
Mhm.
and beginnings, are invaluable. Why do you think documenting the past is so crucial for the future of art in your country?
Well, although we still have a very short history, we just celebrated our 53 National Day on the 2nd of December. But 50 years, to miss that 50 years means like the generation coming after that have to start from scratch. I don't believe in that. I believe that art is always built on previous art scenes that in different countries and different places and different geographies. So knowing that we had a great artist like Hassan Sharif, for example, will also help younger artists to figure out what he was doing, how he was thinking, how he developed his artwork, and then take it from there and build on it and benefit from his legacy to create a new body of artwork. You don't need to always start from scratch. Again, this is not just for art. In every field, we need to do that. Culture and civilization is built like layers on top of each other. So
Yeah.
history is important to build that first layer, and then younger generation will build their own layer on top of that, and generations after generation will be able to continue that legacy of the country and for their very personal career into art. Again, not everyone have to start from scratch. Yeah, you have to learn the tools, the beginnings of everything. You might need to learn how to paint, how to draw, how to sculpture, to do sculptures, how to do movies, how to use technology into developing your art career. But like when it comes to concepts, to thoughts, to ideas, definitely you have to build on what is already there, what is available already. So that is my point of view about history. Although history have many angles and different ways that people are looking at, we have here in the country many organizations and many foundations that are really interested in archiving the history and document it in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a tradition.
Mm.
It's there in all countries. I believe that people
Yeah.
are really interested in archiving and developing archives. My point of view of the history is taking it out from the archive and allowing people to work with and to
Yeah.
develop it and interact with it in a way.
Yeah.
And I believe younger generations are they deserve to have that and to
Yeah,
move
that's
around it.
right. They are not so interested in it when they are young, but when they get older, then they are.
Yes, well, I believe that when the artwork get matured, it's not when you graduate from the university. It's not like when you just got your degree in art. It's really something happens through time and through experience and through going through different journeys into your life. And then when that time, when the history will inspire your career properly and will help you to develop your artwork. One might not go directly to those who just graduated, but definitely you need an art career that is already established or already started that path, and then you will need proper inspiration and proper knowledge about the history to keep it going.
Yeah.
Also, knowing that most of the universities and academic system are really into the history of art, are really always helping and encouraging artists to look at history and to find out what is going on and how to benefit from that and to developing your personal career. But one of the main issues, of course, that I believe most of the universities are facing nowadays, that most of the history that is educational systems and universities are based on the Western style of history. We had the conversation about and find out that teachers and educators are always facing issues with finding proper resources about the history in the region.
Hmm.
So developing and publishing books about the artists from the region was trying to fill into that gap that
Yeah.
educational system are not finding proper books and proper documentation about artists from the region. So through my time in the society, I tried my best to publish as much as possible about the artists from the region, about the different perspective of art from the region, so that it becomes kind of a resource that people will be able to at least start the research about the art in the region.
Yeah. I can feel that it is also a great opportunity when you live in a country which is so young as yours, because there's so many things everybody can do to rise it up, yeah, to start things. My feeling is, wow, that's also very great.
It's definitely very great. We are a very young nation, and even the majority of population in the country are young. So adding two those factors together will definitely, we're supposed to look at a very innovative path of developing art and culture in the country. It is going into that direction. And luckily, we are supported by the government, and the leaders in the country are really looking into that and giving it a big focus, a big part of the plans for the future of the country is really built on culture and art, and finding the proper careers and proper venues for showing the art and the artists coming out of this country.
Yeah.
Again, it's not just the locals. We have many, many nationalities. Almost all the world are living here in the country. We have many nationalities in the country that are living and having and establishing their careers in here. And that is also adding more layers to the shape of the culture and art coming out from this young
Yeah,
country.
that's right. Yeah. And it's a nice way to look at it. Very great.
Definitely. We really appreciate and welcome everyone coming into the country.
Yeah.
So definitely coming to the country, living here, starting the family, having your kids here. It really adds to the people, and it's also adding to them understanding the culture and the nature of the region and how the tradition of things are going on here. So it's really a big conversation and big exchange of knowledge, experience, thoughts, culture, traditions of everywhere. And we really appreciate all of this.
Yeah, you're right. That's really great. Looking ahead, what projects or goals are you most excited about pursuing in the next phase of your career?
Okay. I just recently celebrated my 40th birthday, so I'm grown up right now.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I was just sitting down and trying to think and plan for my coming time and my career in the future. And and I believe that the mentoring side of my career is going very well, and I really appreciate that. I'm really enjoying helping younger artists and keeping that conversation going on between me and them. So that will be one of the main things that I wanted to continue doing and helping with. Getting the chance from being around great artists like Hassan Sharif or Muhammad Kadhim really helped me to get good experience from those people, from their experience, and then exchange it with younger generation. It is always a good opportunity for myself.
Yeah.
And also, again, like developing the art scene or developing the artist and the young artist is always bringing more opportunities for me as a curator also, because helping those artists will end up putting them in some of my exhibitions and some of the projects that I'm working on. So yeah, mentoring is a key thing for the future, but also curating and developing that career also is a very important aspect for myself.
Great. Yeah, that was a really super great conversation, a discussion, and I really appreciate. I learned a lot. Yeah, it's great to know these details from your very beautiful country, very hot country. Just let me know, how many degrees do you have today?
Today it's around 20, in the 20s. We are all it's winter here already, and 20s we consider it as very cold in here. People start getting flu. People are getting flu and cough and stuff like that. But in general, we are in the mid 40s nowadays. But the country is also focusing on that a lot. It's really affecting the whole world. The climate change, it's going all over the place and harming everyone. It's not just us. That's why also it is one of the main topics that many of the artists here in the country working on: climate change and recycling and all those topics that are related to that.
Nasser, thank you so much for this great conversation and for letting us know these details of your wonderful country. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
With pleasure. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
How is the art scene ticking? Everything we always wanted to know about art. A podcast of Petra Lossen.